when nobody is coming. Do it alone, no excuses. There comes a point in your life when you have to stop waiting. Not because you don't deserve help. Not because you don't need people. Not because you have to do everything alone forever. But because there are certain things in your life that nobody else can do for you. Nobody can make your decisions for you. Nobody can develop your discipline for you. Nobody can take your goals and turn them into reality for you. And nobody can live your life on your behalf. At some point, you have to look at yourself and say, if my life is going to change, I have to participate in that change. Maybe you've been waiting for the right opportunity. Maybe you've been waiting for someone to believe in you. Maybe you've been waiting for circumstances to improve. Maybe you've been waiting until you feel confident. Maybe you've been waiting for the perfect time to begin. But here's the problem with waiting for the perfect moment, Tez. The perfect moment rarely arrives, sever. Life doesn't suddenly become perfectly organized. You don't suddenly wake up with unlimited confidence. You don't suddenly receive a guarantee that your decision will work. Sometimes you simply have to begin without knowing exactly how everything will turn out. And that's where courage comes in. Courage isn't knowing that everything will work. Courage is deciding to move forward, even when you don't have that guarantee. So today, I want you to hear this clearly. Nobody is coming to save you from the responsibility of becoming who you are capable of becoming, X. And that isn't bad news. That's freedom. Because if your future depends entirely on somebody else, you are powerless. But if you accept responsibility for your next step, you regain your power. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need everybody's approval. You don't need perfect circumstances. You need a decision that says, I am done waiting. I am done making excuses. I am going to start. And that decision begins with 6 powerful lessons. 1. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Let's begin with the hardest one. Stop waiting for someone to save you. There is a very easy story we can tell ourselves when life isn't going the way we want. We say, when the right person comes, I'll change. When I get more support, I'll start. When someone believes in me, I'll become confident. When life gets easier, I'll finally focus. But what happens if that person doesn't come? What happens if circumstances don't suddenly improve? What happens if nobody notices how badly you want to change? Are you going to keep waiting? Because if you make your progress dependent on somebody else's arrival, you are giving that person control over your future. And you may not even realize you're doing it. You may think you're being patient. But sometimes patience becomes another name for procrastination. You aren't actually preparing. You aren't moving. You're waiting for something outside yourself to give you permission to begin. And life can pass very quickly that way. 1 month becomes 6, 6 months becomes a year. And eventually you look back and realize, I was waiting for someone who was never responsible for my life in the first place. People can support you. People can encourage you. People can teach you. People can open doors, but they cannot walk through every door for you. There are decisions that only you can make. There are habits only you can change. There are opportunities only you can pursue. There are conversations only you can have. There are risks only you can take. And there are dreams that will remain dreams until you decide to act. So stop asking, who is going to come and help me? Start asking, what can I do with what I have right now? Maybe you don't have enough experience. Learn. Maybe you don't have enough confidence. Start small. Maybe you don't know exactly what you're doing. Take the first step and learn as you go. Maybe nobody is cheering for you. Keep going anyway. You don't need a perfect beginning. You need a beginning. And there is a huge difference. The person who starts imperfectly is already further ahead than the person who spends years waiting to feel ready. So don't wait for somebody to rescue your potential. Take responsibility for it. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone else to change your life is the moment you realize you can start changing it yourself. 2. Learn to move without applause. One of the hardest lessons you will ever learn is how to keep going when nobody notices. Because in the beginning, you may want recognition. You want someone to say, "I'm proud of you. You're doing well. I can see how hard you're working." And there's nothing wrong with wanting encouragement. Human beings naturally want to feel seen. But if you become dependent on applause, you become dependent on other people's attention. And attention is unreliable. Some days people will notice you. Other days they won't. Some days people will praise you. Other days they won't even ask how you're doing. If your motivation disappears whenever the applause disappears, you will struggle to build anything meaningful. Because most worthwhile progress happens quietly. Nobody sees you practicing when you're not good yet. Nobody sees the hours you spend learning. Nobody sees the moments when you choose discipline over comfort. Nobody sees the times you want to quit but decide not to. Nobody sees the small improvements that happen before the big result. And that's okay. You don't need an audience for your growth. You need commitment. Think about how different your life becomes when you stop asking, "Did anybody notice?" and start asking, "Where did I keep my word to myself?" That's the question that matters. Did you do what you said you would do? Did you show up? Did you keep going? Did you make progress? Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-respect. And every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your trust in yourself. So start becoming someone who doesn't need constant external validation. Work when nobody is watching. Improve when nobody is clapping. Keep learning when nobody is impressed. Build quietly. Let your results arrive before your announcements. You don't have to tell everyone what you're becoming. Become it. You don't have to explain every decision. Live it. You don't have to convince everyone that you're serious. Let your consistency prove it. There is something incredibly powerful about becoming comfortable with quiet progress. You don't panic when nobody notices. You don't stop when nobody praises you. You don't need constant reassurance. You know why you're doing what you're doing. And that is maturity. Because eventually you understand as applause is nice, but purpose is stronger. DOS out of fan 3. Stop using your circumstances as an excuse. Now let's talk about excuses. And I'm not saying this to judge you. I'm saying it because excuses can sound extremely convincing. Sometimes an excuse isn't a lie. Sometimes it's actually true. Maybe your circumstances are difficult. Maybe you've had setbacks. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you don't have the resources you wish you had. Maybe you started later than other people. Maybe someone else had opportunities you didn't have. Those things can be real. But here's the question. What are you going to do now? Because knowing why your circumstances are difficult doesn't automatically change them. Understanding the problem is important. But eventually, you have to move from explanation to action. You can spend years explaining why something is difficult. Or you can spend those years learning how to deal with it. And that doesn't mean pretending your problems don't exist. It means refusing to let them become your entire identity. Your circumstances are part of your story. They are not necessarily the final chapter. You may not control where you started, but you can influence where you go next. You may not control what happened yesterday, but you can decide what you do today. You may not control other people's behavior, but you can control your response. You may not control every opportunity, but you can prepare yourself for the opportunities that do appear. That is where your power is. So instead of asking, "Why don't I have what they have?" and ask, "What can I build with what I have?" Instead of, "Why am I behind?" ask, "What is my next step?" Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" ask keywords, "What can this teach me?" Those questions change everything. Because your mind follows the questions you repeatedly ask. If you constantly ask, "Why is my life unfair?" you'll search for evidence of unfairness. But if you ask, "What can I do next?" your mind starts searching for possibilities. You don't need to deny reality. You need to respond to reality. Maybe your first step is small. That's fine. A small step is still movement. You don't need to fix your entire life tonight. You need to stop standing still. One decision, one habit, one action, one day at a time. And eventually, those small actions begin to create a different direction. So respect your circumstances. Acknowledge your difficulties, but don't worship your excuses. Because there is a difference between saying, "This is hard," and saying, "Because this is hard, I won't try." The first is honesty. The second is surrender. Choose differently. 2 and 4. Become someone you can depend on. Now we come to something deeper. Learn to depend on yourself. Not because you don't need other people, but because you need to know that when life becomes difficult, you won't abandon yourself. Think about that. How many times have you promised yourself something and then broken that promise? I'll start tomorrow. I'll stop doing this. I'll work harder. I'll focus. I'll finally take this seriously. And then tomorrow comes, and nothing changes. When that happens repeatedly, something begins to happen internally. You stop trusting your own words. You tell yourself you're going to act, but deep down you don't believe yourself anymore. And that's why self-trust is not built through motivational quotes. It's built through evidence. You say you'll do something, then you do it. You say you'll show up, then you show up. You say you'll practice, then you practice. You say you'll take one step, then you take one step. That's how trust is created. You don't need to become perfect. You need to become reliable. Start making smaller promises you can actually keep. Don't say, "I'm going to completely change my life tomorrow." Say, "I'm going to spend 30 minutes working on something important." Then do it. Don't say, "I'm never going to give up again." Say, "Today, when I feel like quitting, I'm going to take one more step." Then take it. You are teaching yourself something. You are saying, "Yes, when I speak, I listen." And that is powerful. Because eventually you become someone who can face difficult situations without immediately falling apart. You know, "I may not know exactly what to do, but I'll figure out the next step. I may fail, but I'll learn. I may get rejected, but I'll continue. But I may have a difficult day, but I won't throw away my entire future because of one difficult day." That is resilience. And resilience changes the way you walk through life. You stop needing certainty before action. You stop needing guarantees. You start trusting your ability to adapt. That's real confidence. Confidence isn't, "Nothing bad will happen." Confidence is, if something bad happens, I will deal with it. Second, and when you become that person, you don't feel as helpless. You become your own source of stability. You become someone you can count on. And that may be one of the greatest gifts you can ever give yourself. 2 and 5. Get comfortable walking alone. There will be seasons in your life when you feel like you're walking alone. And sometimes that will scare you. You'll look around and wonder, where is everyone? Why doesn't anyone understand? Why aren't they moving in the same direction? But you need to understand something. Not everyone is meant to walk every part of your journey with you. People change. Priorities change. Friendships change. Circumstances change. Sometimes people grow apart. And while that can be painful, it can also create space for growth. Because there are moments when you need silence to hear your own thoughts. You need distance from constant opinions. You need time to figure out what you actually want. When you're constantly surrounded by other people's expectations, it becomes easy to confuse their dreams with your own. You start asking, what will they think? Will they approve? Will they understand? Will they think I'm strange? But eventually you have to ask, what do I want my life to become? That question requires courage, because the answer may not make sense to everyone. And that's okay. You don't need everybody to understand your direction. You need to understand it yourself. Walking alone can teach you independence. It can teach you patience. It can teach you how to make decisions without constantly seeking approval. It can teach you that your worth doesn't disappear simply because someone leaves. And it can teach you how to enjoy your own company without turning isolation into your identity. Being independent doesn't mean rejecting people. It means knowing that you can stand on your own feet. You can love people without depending on them for your identity. You can accept advice without surrendering your judgment. You can appreciate support without requiring it before you take action. And sometimes, the path becomes clearer when the crowd becomes quieter. So if you're in a season where you feel like you're walking alone, don't immediately assume something is wrong. Ask yourself, what can I build here? What can I discover about myself here? Use the quiet. Read. Learn. Reflect. Work. Improve. Prepare. Because being alone for a season doesn't mean you're lost. Sometimes it means you're finally hearing yourself. 22-Fun-6. No excuses. Start now. And now we reach the point where everything becomes a decision. Because you can listen to motivation. You can understand the ideas. You can agree with every word. But none of it matters if you don't act. Knowledge without action becomes another form of procrastination. You can watch hundreds of motivational videos. Read dozens of books. Write down your goals. Make beautiful plans. But eventually you have to do something. You have to start. Not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Not when you're fearless. Now, because there will always be another reason to wait. You're tired. You're busy. You're uncertain. You're afraid. You're not experienced enough. You're worried about what people will say. There will always be another excuse available. And if you want to use excuses, you will never run out of them. So stop asking, "Do I feel ready?" and ask, "What is the next action?" If you want to learn something today. If you want to improve a skill, practice today. If you want to build something, start today. If you've made a mistake, correct what you can today. If you've been avoiding a decision, face it today. The goal isn't to transform your entire life in 24 hours. The goal is to stop postponing the first step. Because one step creates another, and another, and another. Eventually you look back and realize you have traveled much further than you thought. Your future self isn't created in one dramatic moment. Your future self is created through ordinary decisions repeated over time. The way you spend today becomes the person you meet tomorrow. So don't underestimate today. This day matters. This hour matters. This decision matters. Maybe nobody knows what you're capable of yet. That's okay. You don't need to prove it to them. Prove it to yourself. Start building evidence. Show yourself that you can be disciplined. Show yourself that you can recover. Show yourself that you can learn. Show yourself that you can keep going. And when you fall short, don't turn one failure into an identity. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to have difficult days. You are allowed to start again. But don't use one bad day as an excuse to abandon your entire future. Start again, and again. That is what persistence looks like. 2-Fl-Message. Nobody is coming, and that's your freedom. So let me leave you with this. Nobody is coming to live your life for you. Nobody is coming to make every difficult decision. Nobody is coming to guarantee your success. Nobody is coming to remove every obstacle. And when you first hear that, it may sound lonely. But look at it differently. Ask nobody is coming, which means you don't have to wait. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need everybody to believe in you. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need to know exactly how the story ends. You only need to decide what you're going to do next. Maybe you've wasted time. Fine. Use the time you have left wisely. Maybe you failed. Fine. Learn from it. Maybe you've been rejected. Fine. Don't let rejection become your identity. Maybe nobody supported you. Fine. Support yourself enough to take the next step. Maybe you're behind. Fine. Start from where you are. Your starting point doesn't have to be your final destination. And if you have to walk alone for a while, walk. If nobody applauds, keep moving. If nobody understands, keep building. If people underestimate you, let them. You don't need to spend your life trying to prove everyone wrong. You need to spend your life becoming someone you respect. That's the real victory. Not impressing everybody. Not getting constant applause. Not convincing everyone that you're capable. The real victory is waking up one day and realizing, I didn't abandon myself. I kept learned. I grew. I became stronger. I kept my promises. I stopped waiting. I took responsibility. I started. And maybe that's the message you need today. Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to become the person you want to be. Stop waiting for circumstances to become perfect. Stop waiting for confidence. Stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for rescue. You have a life in front of you. You have choices in front of you. You have another day in front of you. Use it. Take the next step, then take another. And if you fall, stand up. If you fail, learn. If you get tired, rest. But don't surrender. If nobody comes, keep walking. Because eventually you will discover something important. Years, you were never as powerless as you thought. You were waiting for someone else to give you the strength you were capable of building yourself. So build it. Build the discipline, build the courage, build the confidence, build the character, build the life. No excuses. No endless waiting. No more giving your power away. Your future is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to begin. So begin. Nobody is coming, and that is not your weakness. As that is your freedom.